When we look at the vastness of the universe, that is, how tiny we are compared to its sheer size, we cannot resist the thought of us being insignificant, how fragile our whole world seems to be. It seems everything we do doesn't even matter and is meaningless. The universe is so enormous that we cease to exist. We are insignificant. But why? Why do we feel that? Why do we look at it this way? Why does this thought come to our mind? And is it actually true? The question whether we are significant or not, whether our lives have meaning, has been debated for centuries in our history. But without all the observation in science and technology that we have today, the going in assumption regarding this question was almost always that we are special. Until the 70th century, it was believed that the Earth was the center of the universe and that everything revolved around it. Because when people looked at the motion of the sun, moon, and stars in the sky, it appeared as if all the things were orbiting us. Therefore, everyone assumed that we were at the center. So everyone thought, surely we are special since our planet on which we live on is the center of the creation. It is the center of everything there is. The universe seems designed for human beings. Everything is made for us. We have God given purpose and meaning. We are special. Over time, it became the core belief of the society that the earth is the center of the universe. Many religions throughout history adopted this view because it aligned with their beliefs that humans are special. Those who went against this dogma and suggested otherwise were resisted and punished, even sometimes with torture in the name of religious heresy. However, as the time passed and our knowledge of the universe and our place in it increased, this perspective began to shift and the truth was revealed. It began with Galileo Galilei, an Italian astronomer who started observing the sky with the help of a telescope he had recently built. When he pointed it at Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, he observed that the planet had four stars surrounding it. He later realized that these stars were actually moons in orbit of Jupiter. Those are now known as Galilean moons. This observation was a massive discovery of his time and proved that not everything orbits the Earth. Furthermore, when he started observing Venus, he noticed that it went through phases, like crescent, half, gibbous, and full, just like our moon. This was only possible if Venus orbited the Sun and not the Earth. The idea of heliocentrism was proposed a long time ago by astronomer Copernicus, but it lacked strong evidence. These observations, led by Galileo, poured a life into his theory. It gave strong evidence that we exist in a sun-centered universe. Although these observations prove that we don't have a central position in the cosmos, that the universe does not seem to be made for us, we are not significant in this sense, some still hope that even if Earth was not the center of the universe, it might be the only world. But Galileo's telescope revealed that the moon certainly doesn't possess a smooth and polished surface, and that other worlds might just look like the face of the Earth itself. The moon and the planets showed that they had as much claim to be the worlds as Earth does, with mountains, craters, atmospheres, polar ice caps, and clouds. They might be profoundly different from our planet. None of them might be habitable for life, but the Earth was hardly the only one. It is the nature of human beings to find meaning in everything, to look for reasons that make doing something meaningful. It was thought by religions throughout history to put humanity at the center of everything. People's brains were programmed to think this way. Therefore, some hoped, well, even if Earth is in the center of the universe, the Sun is. The Sun is our Sun, so the Earth is approximately at the center of the universe. Perhaps some of our pride could in this way be salvaged. But by 19th century, modern astronomers had made it clear that the Sun is no different than billions of other stars all gravitationally bound together in a galaxy called Milky Way. Far from being the center, it lies in the indistinguishable sector of the galaxy's spiral arm. We are 30,000 light years from the center. But there was still some hope left that even if the Sun is not the center of the universe, our galaxy is, so we might be special to some extent. But as it turns out, this was wrong too. When Edwin Hubble turned his telescope toward the sky, he discovered that the objects in the sky that were once thought to be fuzzy clouds or nebulae were independent galaxies that exist outside of our own. The universe was far more vast than imagined, containing countless galaxies just like our own. He also discovered that wherever you look in the sky, almost all the galaxies appeared to be redshifted, meaning they were moving away from us. Now, some might say that if all the galaxies are moving further away from us, that means we are at the center. But this is just an illusion. An observer from any other galaxy will see all the others running away from them. Unless they were very careful, they would all conclude that they were at the center of the universe. Because the fabric of the universe itself is expanding equally in every direction, and it might have no center. From what has been discovered so far, there are more than 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, and each galaxy contains at least 100 billion stars on average, and each star has at least one planet orbiting it. As Carl Sagan once said, the total number of stars in the universe is larger than all the grains of sand on all the beaches of planet Earth. The universe is so vast that we can never in a billion years could ever comprehend it in our tiny brains. Far from being the center, we are almost non-existent to its sheer size. But that does not mean we are insignificant. The Earth is actually the center of the universe. In 1905, Albert Einstein first introduced us to the theory of relativity. Along with many other things that it tells us, it also suggests that in the universe there is no center or universal rest frame, and hence there is no center in the universe at all. This, on the other hand, actually means that every single point in space is equally worth of being called the center of the universe. You can choose the Earth, the Sun, Mars, your school, your house, whatever. But if you want to mathematically describe the motion of planets, it is by far the most comprehensive to select the Sun as the center of the solar system, that is. If we go further out into space and want to understand and describe a large piece of the universe, it is convenient to select the center of the Milky Way galaxy as the center of things. Further out, we talk about Virgo cluster of galaxies, which is not centered around any specific galaxy but a non-descriptive point in space, and so on. This profound insight that Einstein's theory brought has very deep philosophical side effects as well. Everything is relative. If you want to understand or describe something, be it physical or abstract, you will have to first choose a rest frame, or in philosophical terms, your point of view. Otherwise, you cannot grasp anything because there is no universal objective point of view. If you want to communicate meaningfully with someone else, you will need to express and be aware of your own point of view as well as other person's point of view. Otherwise, you cannot have a meaningful exchange of information. This aspect is the sole cause of what I think to be 80% of this world's strife and conflict. People think there is a universal point of view of things, and they have a strong tendency to believe that it is their own point of view. It all depends on your perspective, how you see it. If you think that something is significant based on how much influence it has on the universe, then without a doubt we are insignificant, because no matter what we do, we cannot change any part of the universe other than a small fraction of our planet, which is almost non-existent compared to it. We cannot even fully grasp its sheer vastness, let alone alter any part of it. On the other hand, if you define significance based on how much our actions matter for our survival and for the survival of others, then yes, we are significant, because everything you do matters in one way or another to everyone else around you. Ultimately, it all comes down to your definition of significance, your frame of reference, because there is no such thing as being significant or insignificant. The universe does not have a definition of it. It doesn't tell you what is significant and what is not. Significance is not a property of the universe. In fact, the thought of being special, how much something is worth, is a socially constructed notion. It is a human concept. For example, in 7076 BC, Babylon was among the largest and most influential cities in the world. The Babylonian king most famous today was Hammurabi, who enacted a strict code of laws to govern his empire. According to the law, people were divided into 2 genders and 3 classes. Noble people, commoners, and slaves. Members of each gender and class had different values. If a man blinded the eye of another, the law required that his own eye should be taken out. However, if the same act was committed against someone of lower class, the man of higher class was required to pay 60 silver shekels instead of losing his eye. According to the law, the life of a female commoner was worth 30 silver shekels, and the value of a slave woman was worth 20 silver shekels. The eye of a male commoner was worth 60 silver shekels. These laws rejected the idea of universal equality. By tying justice to social rank, they established that the worth of a person, or even a body part, depends entirely on their status. This created a mindset where the significance of an individual was measured before determining the justice it deserved. Moments like these in history shows how deeply the notion of importance and significance is woven into our DNA. We are conditioned to believe that everything carries a certain value. This instinct to measure and compare still persists in our minds today. And when it comes to knowing our place in the universe, we see it through that lens, through that perspective. Whether our position in the universe is any important. How much are we worth? Do our lives have meaning? Are we important to the universe? And this also creates the tendency to think that we humans as a species are separate from the universe, as if it is completely different than we are. People often forget or don't acknowledge that they are part of the universe and not a different entirety. We are made up of the same stuff and governed by the same physical laws. You yourself are the universe. When a huge star reaches the end of its life, it explodes and sends all its matter and elements into its surrounding space in the form of a beautiful cloud called supernova. Over time, these elements begin to come together by the force of gravity and new stars begin to form. Similarly, it formed our sun, and then it formed planets, life on Earth, and eventually you. Right now, every element that is in your body was once in the heart of a star. You are made up of the same stuff that makes up everything in the universe: galaxies, stars, planets. You're not separate from the universe. You're not in the universe. You are the universe. We might be tiny in scale. Our actions might not have much influence on the universe, but we are part of it. It is like a blood cell in your body saying it is insignificant because of how small it is in size compared to the rest of the body. Of course, it is not. It is part of us. It is what constitutes us. Similarly, we are part of the universe. We are governed by the same physical laws as stars, planets, galaxies, and everything else. The human body is composed of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen atoms that were forged in the stars and distributed throughout the cosmos billions of years ago. Every single atom in your body is as old as the universe itself. Everything that exists is the different combination of these atoms. One day, when you will die, your body will decay and the atoms that make up your body will be released back into the environment, the soil, water, and air. Someday, they will be part of another human being, or maybe another organism. Over the course of billions of years, when our sun and the earth will be long decayed, atoms that make up you will be part of another star, or planet, or perhaps another alien life. We're used to looking at bigger objects in the universe and comparing the size of our planet or us humans to them. But we forget about smaller objects which could be much more smaller compared to us than we are to many things in the universe. For comparison, let's look at some examples. An atom, which makes up everything that we see, is roughly 10 billion times smaller than an average human. For instance, our sun is approximately 8.4 billion times bigger compared to us in diameter. So apparently, you're bigger to an atom in size than the sun is to you. To put it into perspective, our sun is so massive that it contains 99.86% of the entire mass of the solar system. You could fit 1 million whole Earth-sized planets in our sun, and there will be still some room left. Continuing further comes an electron, which is so small that it is believed to be just a point and not a sphere. An electron is roughly 1 sextillion times smaller than a human, a number followed by 21 zeros. For comparison, you are 1 quintillion times smaller than our Milky Way galaxy, a number that has 18 zeros behind it. So an electron is smaller to you than you are to our galaxy. I can dive deeper into an even smaller scale than an electron, but the numbers will really get so big that they will become incomprehensible. So for now, whenever you feel tiny, just remember that to an electron, you are a galaxy. The universe might make us feel a little small, and we are small, but that does not mean that our existence and what we do is meaningless. Everything coexists in the universe. Nothing is worth more than the other. You're part of the universe, just like everything else. You are here for a moment, and one day you'll be gone. And by that, I mean your consciousness and not you as a whole, because the matter that makes up you has existed since forever, and it will continue to exist for forever. It will just not be in the right sequence that makes you. So enjoy while you're conscious and worry less about being insignificant if you do. Because that's not true. You are the universe. Every single cell in your body is part of the cosmos. We are the way for the cosmos to know and experience itself. If you have made it this far into this video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have found this video helpful in answering some of your questions related to our existence. As you might have noticed, this is my first video on this channel, and I will be posting more videos on this kind of topics in the future. So liking the video and subscribing would really help me a lot. I hope you have a nice day, take care, and I will see you in the next one.